What's going on is the Wolf, and we are back with another episode of the Wolf Has Spoken podcast, the world's fastest growing podcast. The universe's fastest growing podcast. The fastest growing podcast that's reaching you guys that's watching and everybody that's going to be tuned in shortly enough.
Yes, sir.
It's an amazing day, and I feel good, and I'm excited as always. We back on another one of our sets.
For sure.
And I found myself joined by the one and only Mr. Right on Cue Live.
Yes, sir.
That's as in...
Right side, on cue.
Oh, he got it. All right, he back. He back.
That bringing up the past. We're moving forward.
All right. And big shout out to our sponsors, Her Fantasy Box. Make sure y'all go shop with them. And I actually got some of their products listed right here. So let's go through them. We got Refresh. We got Body Magic. We got Slippery Box. I'm curious to see what that does.
Yeah,
I feel like it's self-explanatory, but I might have to buy that for somebody. Renew Her. Fresh and clean and yummy. I ain't gonna lie, this whole kit sound like a son. I might send you a whole kit.
It needs to be together. Yeah,
right. I'm gonna add my books in. I got Art of Accountability and Cheating is Not Cheating. That's gonna be the welcome kit. Make sure y'all go tap in.
Wait, so the books first and then into the...
I'm gonna send it all together. It's a care package. So get your inside right and get your mind right at the same time, so that by the time we link up, we on the same page.
Boy, good.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So let's get it, man. How you feeling? How was your travels?
Travels is great, actually. Well, I'm bringing it back. Bring it back. Oh, well, overall, I'm in a great mood.
All right, I got that.
It didn't stifle the energy, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, the travels could have left more to be desired. When you deal with a 4-hour delay,
you went home and watched 2 movies.
Yeah. Godfather 1 and 2, for sure, yeah.
And started the 3rd one.
Right. But other than that, though, we got here. It's cool. It's always good seeing Ricky go to the back of the plane in the bathroom.
He was still at 38D?
Absolutely. Middle row, too. He gonna say, niggas try to rationalize fucked up shit. Yeah, no, I kind of prefer the middle row because you get more space. I'm like, Ricky, that makes literally no sense. Yeah, it makes no sense.
And you don't have your own designated armrest. So you got to negotiate. Let me get the front half, you get the back.
But I'm in a good mood, though. How about you, man?
I feel good. I've been in a reflection stage, writing down my goals. I feel like every time we go through a list of goals and we accomplish them, there's always that like what's next feeling, but not from a lack of like grateful standpoint, but more like a lack of contentment. It's like, all right, cool. I just finished this grade. Now I got to prepare myself for the next. So that's kind of like the split. That's how I feel. But ultimately, I feel good too.
Okay,
kind of cool. Y'all did throw off the plans being 4 hours delayed.
I wouldn't say us,
I mean,
was it meant to be alignment?
Whatever.
Yeah. I got an update, a fun fact update for you. So before I say what it is, the thing about me and my tism, like sometimes I have these urges and itches. I gotta scratch the itch to get it done with the creativity spark.
Right.
So I remember when I had a website, I made it in one day. The podcast, my original podcast, I started that right away. Like kind of, we earlier in our podcast journey, we spoke about success like speed. And subconsciously, I've always felt like I've kind of been on that type of time. Like I did. Like why wait? I gotta do it. Yeah. Now I've learned over time. I feel like that's like kind of like one of my abilities where I can kind of get to something and then do it. Now, as far as like realizing where it's time to opportunity for growth and scaling, I may have those blind spots there, but as far as the idea, I'm attacking.
Like you're going to execute, but you get to a certain point where you kind of just like,
and I was just probably not realizing this is like a moment of like doing something. I'll just keep going though.
Yeah.
Now, I say all to say, in 2 days, I wrote a book. So I wrote a book. So we better have some competition in the field soon. Coming soon for everybody. Q-Day Howard. I'm going to be a published author.
So you're going to publish the book?
I'm going to publish it.
All right, congratulations.
So probably audio book first. So I know. Actually, I'm not going to do audio book. I'm not reading this shit. But
he's not going to read his own book.
But yeah, so it came to me, one of the concepts I spoke about, on the show. I ain't going to reiterate it now. I'll say it now. Zoom out. I'm gonna just do a while ago. We both, we use that a lot in our conversation when we game playing and trouble.
Shout out to you.
Yeah. And I was like, no, like there's something in there, whatever.
Yeah.
And I like,
I think it was profound.
Yeah. And as I continue to read or finish more books, whatever, I feel like I'm like, no, like, cause it's kind of like iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, 100%.
Where it just keeps kind of reinforcing certain thoughts I have and sharpening other thoughts maybe I didn't realize. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna package all this. Yeah. Did it. Chatted it up.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I knew when you said 2 days, I knew who had a hand in it.
Who had a hand? That AI hand strong. So chat it up. Got 13 chapters.
He went on the 01 AI run. Playoffs.
This nigga good. MVP shit.
56 games.
Now, because I'm learning, I've learned myself over time. I realized, all right, cool. The creative itch is done. I did, like I told when I wrote the fucking three season show. I did.
He also got a whole full Netflix.
So I had to get the, and you like, Key, we got other shit going on. Why the fuck you writing TV shows right now? I'm like, I'm not saying I'm about to go veer off and go do the show. I had to get it written though. I have to do those things to kind of decompress my mind and kind of get back on whatever. So I wrote it. It's done. Over time, I'll tweak or whatever, and we'll see what comes in it. But I thought, I ain't gonna lie, as I was doing, it's fucking hilarious to me.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. No, that's as funny as it is. I fuck with it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I think it's interesting when you think when people outside of my own story, I think when people have these creative urges though, I think people do something disservice when they don't attack it though.
For sure. It's funny that you even say that because I feel like we often think about, like I always say, like, look at it like this, right? People will go pray and they'll always ask for more. God, just give me more of this, give me more of that, whatever keeps me be right. So just think of it like this. You're a parent, I'm a parent. Imagine if your daughter came to you right now and was like, Dad, I want some juice. And you give your daughter some juice, whatever case may be. She take the juice, she sit the cup to the side. Then she come back to you and say, Dad, I want some juice. What's the first thing you're going to say?
I gave you juice.
You ain't even drink the juice that I gave you.
That too, yeah.
So you asking me for more when you didn't even use what I gave you. And I feel like God has already blessed us with skill sets, talents, and gifts that we already possess. But we keep thinking we need more than what we currently have. So we haven't even started level 1 and implemented the tools that we was already equipped with because we keep asking for newer, reformed, and refined, and upgraded and elevated tools, thinking that that's going to get us past level 1 when no matter what, you got to go through level 1. So when I think about it, people do themselves a disservice because a lot of their creativity never hit the world because they block their own shots. And then they go back and ask God for another solution. He's like, I just gave you, I filled your cup up. You did nothing with it. You think I'm going to give you another cup? No, use what I gave you, make the most of it, see the results of it, and then let me refill you. And that's how you kind of, empty the cup essentially.
For sure. And, I feel like, and whether even it's not creative, it could be something that's like, no, you need to change that job. You need to change that relationship. You need to get in the gym, whatever it is. Yeah. And sometimes it's funny because whether it's New Year resolutions, people also psych themselves out where it's like, well, I'm already see myself stopping, so I start.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe this time you don't stop.
Yeah.
As you say, stop the negative self-talk. Like when you the different ways.
At least get the neutral.
Yeah. Like at least get the neutral. So who knows? Maybe this time you'll stick to it. Either way, it's better to start it and then see what happens though.
Yeah.
And I know, like I said, so I realized that I can get better with scaling and improving at certain points, whatever. But one thing I always tell people is I'm gonna start some shit though. I'm gonna start it.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it and get the momentum going. As far as like sustaining it or scaling it, that's one thing. But I when people don't even start shit, that's kind of like a pet peeve of mine because like, yo, apply to the job. Like apply for the
Give yourself an opportunity.
Give yourself an opportunity. And I tell people all the time, like, a lot of my friends, their job situations, whatever, I be giving them insight. I mean, like the worst thing your boss or whoever you can say is no.
That's a
like ask anything. Like
I think that people have a big fear of rejection too. So that fear of rejection, they'd rather reject themselves than get somebody what they feel and deem to be the satisfaction of rejecting them. So because they think like I'm not about to give you power over this decision to tell me no, I'm gonna tell myself no. But the crazy thing about it is you telling yourself no is you don't never get an opportunity to say yes.
Absolutely.
So you got to tell yourself yes and make everybody else tell you no. It's like, I'm not going to tell myself no. I'm not going to be like, no, this ain't going to work. I'm going to let circumstances come together and tell me like, no, this ain't it. It's not going to be one of them situations where it's like, I'm just looking at it like, oh, no, I seen it. Now, granted, some things we just not capable of.
Right.
If it's a situation where I'm just not capable of doing that, that's not the same as you being super capable of it, but you doubting yourself and you're not committing to it because you think that it might not go as far as you see it because shit just go as far as it's supposed to go. And then that's where you become who you become in that process of getting there, lets you know when you get to that fork in the road, which way to pivot. But if you never even get started on your journey, then you going nowhere anyway. And it's like, you're not, even when you think about your GPS, you could plug in your GPS right now that you want to go to a particular location. It's not going to show you the entire route. It's only going to show you the next turn, then the next turn, then the next turn. At each turn, and then if you run into a roadblock, it's going to do what? Redirect and show you another turn. So nowhere in life's navigation are you able to just go from A to Z and see the whole entire picture. So not starting, you just end up staying there. And if it said it was going to take you 4 hours, guess what's going to happen 4 days later? It's going to still say that it's going to take you 4 hours. But when you get started, you start to chop into that time, and then you realize I'm getting closer and closer and closer. Yeah, you might have to stop for gas. Yeah, you might have to stop for food. Yeah, you might have to take a bathroom break, but ultimately you still headed in that direction. But if you never even line up and give yourself that opportunity, you never know where you could have ended up because you never even got started on where you were supposed to go. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And side note, so another thing that I was going to ask you about. So I remember when you spoke about like your what you learned from your past relationship, and you was like, you was proud of yourself. many things you learned in lessons and shit like that, whatever, insight. But one thing is like you realize that, oh no, I can commit to this woman, have no other temptation. I was fine with that, whatever. So recently I was talking to a friend.
It's a big thing for me, like real big, to be able to commit. Because I understood that was an area of like improvement that I needed to develop. And not that so fun fact, like I only ever cheated in one of my relationships. I never cheated in none of my other relationships, but it was still like a certain level of commitment that I wasn't committed to. It's like being in a relationship, but I'm not really locked in with you. So when I did that, it was like, oh, we can argue and I can still stay committed. Oh, we can go through this and I can have to deal with that and I can still stay committed. So it was all of these different variables that equipped me to feel confident knowing like, oh, I can commit. So now any other situation, even though that didn't go the distance, I know that I'm capable. And that's sometimes what you just be needing to see.
And I'm glad you said that to elaborate on it, because I was talking to a friend of mine recently. He was talking about, yeah, kill me, I just feel like marriage. And he wasn't being like down on my, recent marriage, but he was like, yeah, marriage.
Was this the Miami conversation?
No.
All right.
No. Yeah, I feel like marriage isn't really a thing. I mean, I don't really think it's possible. My friend recently getting divorced, and that was like the last relationship that I thought, if they don't make it, then no one can make it. They get divorced. And the thing that stood out to me was he kept harping on that he ain't even cheat. And he ain't even cheat. And he even cheat. I was thinking like, yo, like men really have convinced ourselves that if a nigga don't cheat, then nothing else matters.
So she left him?
He didn't really go into detail of that. It's just like they just filing for divorce per se.
I think people, because I've said this about both, people have developed this exception to what society deemed to be a successful relationship, being monogamy. Like they think that that's the one pillar. Then they get that monogamous connection, and then they don't connect it nowhere else. And they like, why y'all break up? Oh, because of this, that, and the third. And they automatically think that if it's not cheating, then then the relationship should work. But it's like, actually, cheating is like only the headline to a story that most people don't look beyond. There's so many other things that lead up to that, that even caused and be as a result of that play a factor that people don't even equate to. They just look at the end all be all like, well, did you or did you not cheat? But it's like, if a person feel neglected, devalued, demeaned, disrespected, all of these things can make a person want to leave without even having to be cheated on. Like, you know what I'm saying? But most people, men and women, think that if a person don't cheat on you, that don't mean that they not cheating you in other areas. Like, you cheating me out of my peace of mind. Yeah. You cheating me out of my ability to grow. You cheating me out of my ability to have a situation worth building in. Just because you holding it down sexually don't mean that you're not cheating me in other areas. So.
For sure. And I think it was poignant when you said you were committed. You're not saying like necessarily only just meaning about not cheating. No, I'm committed to you. Yeah. When we argue, I'm still here. So that's what was kind of echoing my mind, where it's like the guy didn't cheat. I'm just like, but I don't know this nigga, but like, was he just a dope husband? Like, I don't fucking know. Yeah. And I don't think he ended up saying like, yeah, like, but this nigga even gave her a whole check. I mean, his whole check, he would get paid. She get the whole thing. I'm just like, well, just that one element sounds like something that's not sustainable. Yeah. Like, if I'm giving anybody my whole check, I'm probably not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, nah, eventually.
Yeah, so, and if she's not satisfied, she sounds like a person that's not happy internally in general.
Or just not happy with that type of, like, because that might be her love language.
That's it. Yeah. But I'm like, it just sounds like it's a lot of hair at play. And because a nigga didn't cheat don't mean like, man, I don't know, it's a perfect nigga, perfect relationship. Then. But I think because, again, like, a lot of niggas don't be disciplined, with their dick, whatever. Basically, it's like, if a nigga is like, yo, that nigga, he just the best. And like, no, but it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of things to a relationship. And I feel it's like just an immature, I won't say immature, it's just like a less enlightened view of like relationships. Because when you really locked in with someone, relationship-wise, love, a lot of shit happens. A lot of shit can be not breaking points, but like little fractures.
Oh, that's a fact.
Like little fractures along
blemishes.
The way.
Bunch of blemishes.
Yeah, and whether it leads to cheating or not, it can lead to the break because it's like, yo, like, nigga, like, I'm just not into it. We're not in sync no more. We ain't compatible. We ain't aligned.
And I think that, like,
and now we're divorced.
When you really committed, cheating don't even be your thought. Like that's like a prerequisite of a relationship. That's something you think about before getting cheating. You better not cheat. But when you kind of get into the relationship, you're doing the day-to-day antics and how relationships operate. Cheating is not a day-to-day thought. Something has to transpire for you to think your partner is cheating on you. You don't just walk around unless you have internal things that you need to work on, insecurities, or unless you're just not right within self. So it makes you see things through a distorted perspective and a distorted lens because you have fucked up things that you might have done and experienced that make you think that people are all out just cheating. But for the most part, you kind of just going through the day-to-day antics. then you'll find a lot of other annoyances and things that could become a nuisance to you, that you can find yourself being unattracted to your partner or disconnected from them. That can be worked through. That's where it's like, that's why I say I was committed, because it was like I wasn't really worried about that, because when you self-confident within self, I'm not just thinking that I'm somebody that just get cheated on. It's not like I'm just thinking up like, who you gonna find that's better than me today that might cheat. I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking like, if you do that, that's on you. I really understand within self that I'm offering something that is not, you can't just find anywhere. So I'm not thinking you about to just get that up. But it's the other variables. Okay, how much do you respect me? How much do you respect what we build? How involved are you? How much are you working on yourself? How much am I able to work on myself? How much peace are we able to provide for internally that then creates a peaceful environment? These are the other things. Or when there is chaos, how committed are we to a solution, right? And it's like when you committed in that way, that is the things that can even make or break a situation, or committed or not committed, essentially. But just cheating, that's just like that comes behind a lot of being disregarded, a lot of being, neglected, a lot of being disrespected. That's when that's become, unless you're just dealing with a cheater. But it's like, if a person is just a cheater, then that means you just made a poor judging character.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a conversation that should be so widespread. But what happens is so many relationships talk about how they ended. When it goes to there, they never talk about the 98 other incidents before that. It's like, yeah, oh, she ended up cheating, or I ended up cheating, or he ended up cheating. And it's like, but it was 98 micro things that transpired, a lot of micro commitments that was broken way before the cheating even transpired. So why are we only talking about one thing when it was so many other things that caused this disconnect?
Absolutely. And another thing you said recently in passing in regards to the conversation we was having, you was like, when people truly have grown and did the work, they're able to apply it.
100%.
Yeah, and
got to be able to apply it.
Right, or at least acknowledge that I'm working on this to apply this more consistently.
Like, I ain't there yet.
Yeah. So recently, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm me and the missus, man. Yeah, because of my leadership, I had to regroup, get my shit in order so we can be better as a unit, whatever. Yeah. So once I was proud of myself, I applied it. I applied the growth. So recently she did. It's funny because actually she attacked me. I was a victim. So like she just was pissed off by some shit and came in the room and kind of was on some shit. And I was like, if I was even process, like, are you about to argue with me? Yeah. Like, I'm evolved. Like,
I'm healed.
Yeah, I'm healed. Like, but she was kind of came in with attitude, whatever, and I was kind of like. I kind of shut down. I was doing some work, whatever. It was late at night. I'm like, all right, you want some nut shit? I'm just go to sleep now. This is anything. But you know what? Let me communicate because it ain't that deep. Let me express instead of checking this off like a little thing and not responding to it, then maybe being annoyed by the next day and whatever. So it carries over.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me communicate. I'm like, yo, like XYZ, whatever. And now she was not receptive to it.
She ain't there yet.
She was. So that night it was not solved, but but again, what I've learned in recent months, I realized that when I just say it, I don't really give a fuck about the result, to be honest. I'm like, because again, most of these things in these relationship moments, these annoyances, peace, they don't be big deals.
Yeah.
So for a lot of time, it don't need to be resolved in that, at least for me, it don't need to be resolved in that moment for me. So long as I express it, it's off my mind, my chest, whatever, I don't give a fuck about it, whatever. So the next day, shout out to the unit, she expressed, I was wrong yesterday, this and that, type shit, whatever. And I realized, you know what? I think I gave her the runway to even be able to come around in a faster turnaround because I led that. I opened it up and I communicated it or whatever. So give myself a pat on the back.
Yeah.
I applied that growth in real time. Yeah. Like, I ain't let it wait 3 days. I ain't simmer. So I was happy about that. So I want to give you, I want to have you talk more about that. Like when people do the work for their personal development, are able to apply in situations, maybe things if you remember in real time that you had to work on
every day,
like, maybe a recent thing.
It's every day in different scenarios. Every time I find myself triggered or find myself feeling like I'm reacting or about to react, I always ask myself, okay, what do I want from this? Like even more, no, matter of fact, just to pivot quickly, but in the same concept, I told you, like, I realized like during this dating phase, I kind of got to a point where I'm like, damn, I don't even know. Once I get to a certain point of having to communicate in a certain way, I'm like, damn, I kind of be like closed off. And that's when I realized like, damn, I might not be as available as I think I am in this season, whatever it may be. So I had a situation where it was a girl I was texting briefly, but then I kind of had something come up and I kind of didn't communicate and we ain't talked for like a week or two. And I knew like it was on me essentially. I could have just parked it and let it be what it was. But I was like, you know what? Even though we ain't even like that deep into these discussions, let her know that my lack of interaction is not due to my lack of interest. and I'm gonna open up the door to let her know, look, this is what transpired. And my lack of interaction is not due to my lack of interest. And if you want to continue communicating, we can. If not, that's cool. And that was something that I just applied yesterday. So it was like one of the things that she appreciated. It was like, yeah, no, I thought you just wasn't interested. So I was just like, all right, it's cool, whatever. And I'm like, see, normally I would communicate, but in that season that I was just like kind of in, I was just like, all right, it is what it is. Like I was just letting it be what it was. So, and that's just like a minor example. But even just when it comes to like a lot, like being a co-parent, when you're a co-parent, you're going to have different perspectives of the person you're co-parenting with, especially if y'all don't have a certain understanding for each other. It's like some people was in relationships together and it get tricky. If you're in a relationship with your baby mom and then y'all break up and then y'all co-parenting, y'all still have to work through that dynamic of we may or may not have this type of feeling for each other, so it's affecting our style of parenting. But when you never even was in that regard, so you don't even know people in certain, you got to learn or whatever case may be. So having patience in that regard, that's always the thing where I got to communicate how I contribute. Like basically like, listen, it don't work for me if you call me the same day saying I need X, Y, and Z. And I had to use an example. Say if a contractor called you saying, yo, I know you're working on the real estate project. I need you to hurry up and send me $2,000 to go get these materials. It's not that you don't want to send the money for the materials. It's that you didn't wake up that morning with sending that money on your mind. So for me, communicating was like, look, if you give me anything above this amount, I need this type of notice. If it's $50, $100, or let's say $50. If anything above $50, I need a 48-hour notice. I don't care if it's only $50. Just because if I don't wake up with that in the budget to spend $100, spend $200, I'm not just doing that. But if I know it's Monday and by Friday something costs $200, something costs $250, all right, I'm prepared for that because I had a 4-day window. But if you don't let me know that, and by me being able to communicate that and then use that example, it was one of the things where it's like, okay, I can see how that can be triggering or that could be off-putting, especially if when you don't send it, it frustrates me. Right. So we can save each other if you know that it's frustrating. Be considerate. Exactly. Consider the fact that I need a window so I can get it to you so that when I get it to you, neither person is frustrated on the other end. So that's something that versus just because when most people, they assume that somebody is supposed to understand that perspective without properly articulating and communicating that perspective. It's like you got to fill in all of the blanks. People see the world differently, so don't think that because a certain thing make you feel a certain way that you don't have to communicate to somebody how not to get there. Most times somebody tell you how they feel or how you made them feel, but never tell you the path that led you to that. And it's like, if you could tell somebody the path, look, this is how we ended up here because these said things affect me in this way, you give somebody the opportunity to avoid that moving forward versus just thinking that they're going to catch on. And that's why a lot of frustration be presented because a motherfucker get mad. Like, why the fuck you not? Why you don't understand? Why you don't? And it's like, did you ever explain it to a person so they can understand? And now when I explain it to you, just patience and grace to let you apply it because it's not going to say it's going to be an immediate shift. You know what I'm saying? And one more thing I'll say to that topic, man. One thing that helped me, this maybe even for the men that's out there, that's co-parents, whatever the case may be. As men, for one, we can't match the energy of our counterparts. Meaning, like, we have to always remain steadfast and understanding that we are solutionists, we have foresight, and we have conflict resolution. If you don't have conflict resolution, you need to work on having conflict resolution. With that being the case, how you approach these situations, don't go into it with the intent to argue back. Even if you feel like it's hostile, even if you feel like you're being attacked, stay grounded and understanding in the fact of where you want this conversation to go. And one of the most profound things that helped me in these type of situations was my counselor at the time was like, listen, man, you got to ask for the strength to deal with he said you got to ask for the solution to deal with the problems that could be solved and the strength to deal with the ones that can't. And one thing about being a co-parent, being a husband, these problems are problems that's going to continuously occur. So they don't got to be the same problem, but it'll always be something, whether it's with your kids or with your co-parent, whatever the case may be. You have to have the patience to deal with these things. And he said, just put your seatbelt on and buckle up for the ride because these are things that you got to manage. You can't get rid of them. And when you learn how to manage these things, you don't expect them to go away. Like, stop expecting your baby mom or baby dad to change. Just accept them for who they are and manage the relationship for what it is. All right, I know that we tend to argue when these things happen. I know that we tend to be on the same page when these things happen. So to avoid arguing, let's get more on the same page in these areas so that we can create for a smoother journey. It ain't never going to be perfect and without resistance and friction, but we can minimize some of these discussions if y'all stop hoping that the person change. Oh, why can't you just be more like this? Why can't you just be more like that? Just accept people for who they are. That don't mean you got to tolerate and deal with it. It just means that you don't expect them to be who you want them to be, and it'll make for an easier and more efficient line of parenting, line of communication, line of, just interacting.
So a few thoughts, what you said, or a couple. So when you mentioned that just expressing that consideration thing, again, it's not going to be an overnight succession of them applying it, but at least if they're able to receive it, that does half the job, whatever. And that's what I learned with myself, where once I start communicating things in real time, because again, the partner I'm with, like, she ain't some fucking asshole, combative ass, fucking crazy ass person, whatever. For the most,
what?
Huh?
You're what?
I see my partner. That ain't good enough.
I want your
my
what?
wife.
There we go.
That's my wife.
The partner I'm with is crazy.
My partner?
No. You said the
in
partner.
life.
Say my wife.
Person I'm building life with. I created life with.
My wife.
At all times.
At all times.
That's fair.
She earned it.
You're right. She did.
Yeah.
No smut.
Yeah.
But so my wife, like she's wired in that way. Like she's receptive for the most part, whatever. So again, she ain't able to do shit immediately a lot of times, whatever.
She'll hear you out.
She'll hear you out. And that's, I think, when you with someone and you got rapport with them, respect or love, half the time, or even a history, half the time, just them receiving it and not dismissing it, shutting it down, just being combative. That, all right, cool.
Just want to be understood.
Yeah, exactly, understood. Yeah. And me and Ricky was talking about something with his situation he got going on, whatever. And he's like, yeah, the fact that we wasn't maybe aligned, soon I expressed it. She's like, oh no, I see what you're saying. And that kind of put away all his anxiety 100%. And thoughts about it, whatever, and reservations. Thinking, but well, if she ain't receptive to it, like, no, all right, we good.
Yo, you'll be surprised
really do it.
How many conversations can end well with a simple, I see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Literally. Mm-hmm. Like, instead of trying to be received, just be receptive. And I always say, you know, everybody want to be understood, but nobody want to be understanding. Everybody want to talk, but nobody want to listen. And it's like, when we say communication is the key, but understanding is the door. You could communicate all day and tomorrow. If somebody don't understand where you're coming from, then that key was not effective. And I think that we got to be more receptive to being a door that's unlockable. Mm. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, and the only way that key can be effective is if you try to see the angle that the key is coming from. So when we start talking about effective communication, if it don't land, it's not effective. Mm-hmm. Just because you are verbal and vocal and willing to present something, that don't mean you can just be confrontational. And somebody that's not trying to talk could just be non-confrontational. But that don't mean you're a better communicator than that person. The communication is when it's effective, when it lands on, I see where you're coming from. Even if I don't agree where you're coming from, I see where you're coming from. Agreement doesn't, just because you can acknowledge somebody's perspective don't mean you agree with it, don't mean that you're going to change the way you see it. It just means you let them know that I can understand that you see a 6 while I'll see a 9. We don't got to reverse it, but just knowing that it's two different perspectives here, it allows for us to respect each other's perspective. Right.
I was about to say, I acknowledge it, and oftentimes I respect it. Yeah. And that, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
We can move on now.
Exactly. And like, as adults, man, that's where we just got to elevate our level of communication. Like, it's not about being right or wrong. It's just literally about being understanding and feeling understood. Because if you go into any debate and at the end of it, both parties could see where the other one was coming from, even if nothing changes, I'm telling you, it'd be no hostility. But some people got that thing within their ego where they just gotta win the conversation. And it's like, you gotta eliminate that, because that can't thrive. That can't help you thrive, or it can't survive in a relationship.
And I can admit, so first, before I say that point, I still got another thing. Shout out to us, you know, shout out to people watch. I feel that's one thing we always hung our hats on in our conversation, our brain here, where oftentimes we see things differently, 100%. Disagree, whatever. But from the very beginning, it's never been like a, we have to belabor the point.
Never not one.
But nigga, that's what I'm saying. No, all right, go ahead, you coming from?
Yeah.
Let's move on. Like, and that's kind of, I feel that's like part of our like hidden sauce of our flow and our chemistry, where it's like, that's how these conversations can progress and the topics can flow, whatever. Because nothing has to be just driven into the ground of like, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't really get, like, no, I would see it differently.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Right. Like, and it come down a lot to like our upbringings and our experiences, and that's what makes it okay. Like, as long as a person not denouncing your views, it's like, I just feel like you could like apples, you could like oranges. It don't gotta be, nah, but this is why you shit like apples. And this is why you shitting like oranges. It's like, no, just eat the fruit you like.
Right.
Like the fuck.
Right. So co-parenting. I liked how you broke down how people could be better, deal with co-parents differently. So I was talking to my man's recently, and he was talking about a situation, his baby mom, not a situation, a history, a saga of just dysfunctional shit. And now again, I'm the type of person, I don't know how other people deal with their friends and their relationships, but like whenever somebody may be going through a relationship or a situationship or whatever, a personal, that I may not deem conducive or healthy or whatever, I keep my thoughts to myself unless you ask me.
Unless you ask me up.
Unless you ask me.
Yeah, my opinion, I'll tell you. But other than that, I won't say nothing.
And I can't wait for you to ask me. The day you ask me, I got something to tell you, boy. Actually, I got it all written down. Absolutely. Like, damn, PowerPoint. But until that day, it's none of my business. And of course, we can talk and conversate just by general shit. But that's convert. I said conversate?
Yeah, you said conversate.
Lena, don't watch this. But we can converse about shit like that. But I say all to say, this been a long saga, and this bitch been anything from day one. It just was never going to work out well. But you know, they stay together. Baby's involved now. Because it was always going like this way. Now it's like this. Like it's just this is
They
it.
tend to do that.
Yeah,
It's already going in that trajectory.
And as he was talking to me, I was like thinking like, damn, like I don't got nothing for you. Like I don't think because end of the
I don't got no motivation today.
you're like it's like because the baby's here, y'all dysfunctional, and it's just a never ending loop, whatever. But as you was talking just now, I'm thinking like, okay, I guess that's perspective that it can be helpful. Where it's like, yo, y'all have good pockets here, y'all have bad pockets here. Lessen this load, increase this load, or just only focus on these loads. And that's probably the only way when people are just not on the same page.
Are they still together?
No.
Yes. All right. So just to kind of like, because I've been a co-parent for 16 years now. It's one of them things where it's like, you have to learn yourself. You have to learn your thresholds. You have to learn your strengths. You have to learn your weaknesses. You have to learn a lot of patience, because being a co-parent is you essentially, it's like having a business with a partner who you don't agree with. And both of y'all have one objective and one goal, which is to make sure that this is a thriving business, a thriving entity. And y'all gonna have two different angles of approach. And the thing about it is, you never see what the other person is dealing with because y'all not operating in the same world. Right. So all y'all doing is showing up to the establishment together and trying to say, do you got your half of the rent? Do you got your half? Can you clean it today? Can you do? And we metaphorically speaking, of course, I'm talking about a child, but the fact of the matter is, from a co-parenting standpoint, nobody knows the baggage that the other parent is carrying to the table. They just think that as long as it's nothing is said, then nothing is needed. Or sometimes, you know, men get put in under the microscope of not being able to do enough, but women don't know how much shit a man is trying to do, or you know what I'm saying? Now, then there's the other side of the spectrum where men get comfortable seeing a woman do a lot and think that, oh, well, she got it under control. So it's like, no, don't assume that the other person do or don't have it. Show up and give your 100% best, and then be respectful to the other person or whatever their contributions are, and give them the grace to at least from perspective. I know you wouldn't just slight our kids, so maybe this is all you have. But what tends to happen is it becomes a pissing war. It becomes a fucking fencing match where it's like, yeah, nah, I did this, you did this, you ain't do this, you ain't do. Or it becomes an ego challenge of who did more, who could have. And a lot of that be perspective based. It's like men could say things that they feel like their baby mom could do better. Women could have a whole list of shit that they feel like baby dads could do better. But in the reality, if everybody just focus on the shit that they could do better, the kid ultimately would be successful. So it's like showing up and understanding that you don't know what your co-parent is going through, and having grace and patience and cause see, for me, and another thing, that's what I'm gonna say to the men, man, you gotta strip that. A lot of men be affected by the opinion that they baby moms have on them, and they really should be affected by the opinion that kids have on them. Now, I'm not saying manipulate your kids, show up with gifts and all that when they 3 and 4 and they know, oh, daddy is a super. No, I'm talking about in real time. If you know you giving your ultimate best, and you can't always come through at the time that's requested, because what a lot of women impulse and they don't take into account is they impulsively want to. Men are not impulsive, so they might come up with something. I want to send them to karate class Friday. It's like, it's going to be the registration is $175, and this boy might not have $175. You never could get. I could never depend on you when I call you. You never got it. It's like you came up with an idea to spend his money. You're not allowed to do that with me. You can't get creative with my money. We got to be able to have some
especially
type of
last minute creative.
That's the creativity. That's the impulse. So you got creative with his money and was mad that he couldn't come through for you. It really don't work like that. You got to understand that you don't know what this man has in his plans. So if you want to come to the table, look, man, I'm trying to put this, because some parents give 2-3 month notices. I think if that's the case and you've done that and the man ain't showing up, you just got to do better as a dad. But you got to remove her opinion where you feel like if she's saying you're not a good dad, because I'm not your dad. So you can't tell me if I'm a good dad or not. You might tell me I ain't the best boyfriend. You might tell me I ain't the best co-parent, but to tell me I'm not a good, that's for my child to determine. And if y'all focus on building a great relationship with your kid, a lot of men who disappeared into the fucking shadows will come out of the shadows and get relationships with their kids, because a lot of men are they so worried about what the mom said to the child. What seeds that you planted to turn my child against me? And you're not even going back to repaint the picture. Now the only perspective of you that your child have is the one that the mom get. But if you want your child to have an accurate perspective of you, to be able to combat whatever the bullshit is, then come and be a good dad. A good dad and a good co-parent is two different things. Because a motherfucker go argue with his baby mom all day and tomorrow, but do everything he got to do for his kid. Did that make him a bad dad or a bad co-parent? Or just mean that them two don't get on? So you got to be able to identify as a man where you lack. Like, all right, maybe I ain't the best communicating with you. But the fact of the matter is, I don't lack over here at all. And me and my kid know that. And when it's all said and done, your kid is going to be the one that say, nah, I know my dad. And you want your kid to know your character. You don't want them to know what you bought them. You want them to know what you taught them. And that can only happen by you being present. Oh.
But yeah, so damn, what was with that being said, other thing about the baby mom thing. Oh, so another thing I landed on while
having a wife though. I'm saying like you don't have.
This is yeah, the right, absolutely, yeah.
I'm saying like you don't have a baby mom,
but it tied together. Yeah. So a while ago, many episodes ago, I had conceded.
Wait, not that there's anything wrong with baby moms. I'm just happy to know like. That's what's up.
For sure.
Absolutely. I'm not condemning.
Not condemning.
Acknowledging. Acknowledging. That's what's up. That's up.
Many episodes ago, I conceded to a reoccurring, infamous conversation that many people have. Like, is it the deadbeat dad or is it the crazy baby mom that runs the dad away type shit, whatever. And as a person, like you said, who never went through that, whatever, I heard of and know many men who have. I always kind of felt like, like I don't know. Like I feel like. If I'm in those shoes, no one on the earth could stop me from being with my kid and doing what it takes. Now, if you remember, in that conversation, I said, you know what? I'm privileged. I'm from a privileged standpoint.
But you don't have an
so I'm going to just step out of it. Yeah. I don't know. I know of many men that have made the point. I'll just let y'all have it. And who am I to even unpack it or say, but did you really do all it took? I don't fucking know. So cool. But as I was talking to my friend about his situation, I proposed to him, like, how about you just get full custody, yo? Or how about you just get custody?
Yeah, that could work.
Like, because you don't get the full, but at least because a lot of people should know that when the baby's born, before anybody, there's no custody. And my mom told me before I even started fucking. Because again, my mom, Lena's not a girl's girl. Yeah. She's doing from day one, don't trust these bitches. They going to do this to you, this and that. You need to get custody. If it's ever a slimmer of doubt, test that baby. Like, that's how she carried it my whole life, whatever. So she always told me the whole custody shit. And I was telling yo, like, how about you get custody? Yo? Like, first question I asked him, would you care or be bothered if your kid was with you all the time? He was like, no. I'm like, so get custody. Because this shit going on it's not sustainable. It's not healthy. It's not conducive. How about you get custody? And then you at least control it, whatever, 100%. Guide it. And he kind of was not giving valid responses. And I was like, to me, that's why I go back to like my previous conceded point. I'm like, I feel all the time men just be lazy a lot of times. Yeah. And because we're not conditioned to do the custodial work typically or do this, and niggas don't like doing paperwork and court shit, whatever, niggas be like, well, it ain't that. Or I'm like, my nigga, all right, but I'm not sure if this is sustainable. How does it look 10 years from now where you could have just took control of the wheel and it could have been the ball and it could have been your court. Yeah. So I'm not getting back on the hill. But bringing up the topic again.
So again, a lot of it come from men experiences. So I wouldn't even say men are lazy. I think men are ignorant, one, and to the process, like not really knowing. And then the other part of it is playing with the odds stacked against you. Right. So like it's not like you have to like for you to get full custody, she has to be a crackhead. Like the baby had to have crack too. Like Isaiah. She can be a crackhead, and if the baby didn't have crack, the mom still got a better shot than you. Gotcha. But getting some type of partial or half is very much
at least thing. It's established.
Some type of established. Yeah. But I just had a homie. He was going through it for over a year, thousand legal fees. They kept backing the date up, so they got to keep paying an attorney to show up. They keep having them come there and extending. The baby didn't come back, and I don't want to. But I mean, I'm talking about. I got a ton of friends with kids, but the baby having little bruises, all types of stuff going on, being in the hospital, broken leg, and he just trying to get his kid, and it's like the mom in the hospital dealing with some other stuff. The baby with her husband is like, why is my kid with somebody other than me type shit, and it's like he just got custody. Like and it was over a year. Every man don't got that fight on him. That's not to justify, don't make it okay, but it's why a lot of men just run away from it and they try to reason with the person that they laid down with. But in reality, to your point, I do think that because that would, my oldest is 16 now. If I would have did that early on, like early on, but people don't know how demoralizing it is to go in there and get looked at a certain way when you try, like, it's like they don't have no impartialness to them. They don't have no objectivity to them. They completely biased. If you in that system, they automatically assume you're a deadbeat. They automatically think you don't want to be. They're not even taking into account that if I'm here fighting for custody, motherfucker, you think I don't want to be in my kid life?
By definition.
But they would assume that you're trying to get out of child support. So it's like the way the system views the men walking in there, a lot of men just spare themselves and they try to reason with the person they lay down with. But if it gets to a point where it's affecting your ability to be able to see your kid when you want to see your kid, then that's where, to your point, you have to just go through the fight. You just have to, and just look at it like these 12 rounds going to be worth more than 12 years. I'd rather go through this 12-round bout in these courts and go round after round after round until we figure something out before I let you get off on me for the next 12 to 15 years of being able to control and dictate when and how I can see my kid. This is how the narrative get created versus the actual deadbeat versus the manufactured deadbeat, where it's like you trying to make me out to be a deadbeat by telling my kid shit about me, by not letting me see my kid, by not allowing me to do anything but give you money to be able to take care of my kid, and you wondering why, my kid don't have a relationship with me versus the nigga who just like, I don't want nothing to do with that kid. Those are two completely different type of men, and those are two completely different type of women. You have women who don't have, they non-confrontational, so they don't want to bother the man. I ain't about to really ask them for nothing. I'm not really about to call him. It's fine. I'll figure it out. And then you got the niggas that just don't do shit. It's like, all right, she never called me. I'm not doing nothing. Then you got the other men who try to be there, but it's like, I don't want you as a package deal. So now you are manufactured, or you just haven't let go of what we did or didn't have, or if it did or didn't work. So now you are preventing me from having an effective relationship with my kid. And now you are the problem. So they two different types of, that's a female deadbeat versus a male deadbeat. But people are dealing with the opposite of that, and they trying to create that. Like, it's the guy that want to be there, but he getting called the deadbeat. And then there's the woman who would love to have you in your kid life, but she getting presented as if she holding your kid from you. So, we just got to find that. That's where the discernment coming at, essentially. But if you're a man and you know what your goal is, you want to be in your kid life, nigga, go to court. Get custody, flat out.
Yeah. And to your point about, the bruises thing, that's the thing that kind of really was shifting my mind, where it's like, again, like the whole, a lot of niggas in her, but yo, she won't let me see the kid. She be playing games, switching weekends. All right, cool. That's fucked up and unfortunate. But once you're still like, no, but I don't know where my kid is at, and I don't know who around, and this happens, I'm like, now you done completely lost me. Like that. Like we talking about the welfare of the child, you got me super fucked up for
At this point, it don't even matter. We gotta go at it.
Yeah, like,
and we not conditioned to go to the system, like to lean on the system for help because of all the other things that's like. So it's psychological, because I would assume that other cultures was just like, yeah, fuck that, we're going to custody, and a lot of them be cool with it. It just be like, it's your kid. Like it's not a spite game unless. It's levels. It's different tiers to it. But for the most part, I just feel like we have to overcome that level of, we really have to put our kids first. Like, and I say we, even though I'm not talking about me and you, I'm talking about as a culture. Right. Our culture have to value the kids' well-being, the kids' upbringing more than they value any type of hurt and pain and trauma that they attach to from whatever happened to them. It's like, for your kids, you got to put that shit to the side. We don't have to like it. We don't have to love it, but we have to do it.
Recently I had somebody talk with me, and they was like, hey, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm at a current job. It don't pay great, but I can kind of do whatever the fuck I want. Come and go as I please. Ain't really shit to do, whatever. So I'm thinking about trying to get a new job to pay more, but it's like, I gotta do more for it. And I was like, always try to get more. Like, it's like, so and I realized, that's like when people thought, I remember my man told me a quote a long time ago. He's like, dreams die in the comfort zone. And I was like, you don't realize that if you don't do something, you're gonna be here 5-10 years from now, maybe comfortable, I guess, but not making money that you want. I'm not saying everybody gotta be a millionaire, but you clearly want to make more money. So you want to make more money. You probably not challenging yourself. You're not fulfilled necessarily. So what are we really talking about, to be honest? And but the fact that I could see it clearly, he could. I'm just like, that's kind of interesting. And so
how was he seeing this, so I can have context?
He was just truly just unsure. Like, to me, it wasn't even. Like, it's like, nigga, if you don't want more money, cool. Like, be comfortable.
Right.
Or let's say you don't need more money. Hey, I'm all about easy money. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, but if you tell me you kind of need more money, but you just like, no, this shit just so comfortable though. This chair. It's like, nigga, find a maybe nearly as comfortable chair that's giving more,
or be comfortable while doing the work.
Be comfortable while, like,
so, like, for instance, right, like one of my friends just recently used the metaphor of climbing the mountain. Said, like, you always gonna be climbing the mountain. At certain points, you'll get to a spot where this is the comfort where you get leveled and you get to catch your breath, but you can't live here. You can't stay here. You got to keep climbing. So when I say get comfortable while putting in the work, I'm saying, like, for instance, like, if one of my peoples once used the example, like, if I know I'm about to go to the gym and I know that that's like something new for me, I'll buy myself new gym clothes so I can feel comfortable. If I know I'm about to be staying down for the next 6 months and I'm gonna be in a crib and not going out, I'm gonna buy myself a new TV and a game so I can be comfortable while I'm doing it. But whatever it is, it's still in alignment with the plan versus a motherfucker just like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna just keep the same TV. I gotta keep the same clothes.
Still in a crate.
I'm gonna just stay here. Yeah, it's like, no, like I'm going to do things that's uncomfortable, but I'm gonna make myself as comfortable as I could possibly be while doing it. Like if I gotta lift weights, I'm gonna buy gloves because that's gonna take off the friction and the resistance from my hands. That's what I mean. So it's like, nigga, if you want more money, position your life to be able to be comfortable while getting what you want, but not being comfortable to where though it's like, all right, I'm settling essentially.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I feel like, you know, I was talking to someone on the flight here actually, and I was like, she's like, yeah, I be leaving jobs every 2 years, this and that. I mean, I had to kind of, you know, the way I was raised and shit like that, I like to the point I like comfort zones. Like I'm a systematic routine person. Once I get something that's comfortable, we do this shit to the end of time. However, I realized I had to condition myself out of that, at least in my professional world, because, you know, I had my last job, I was like that. I was there for like going on 3+ years, whatever. My coworkers are dope. We still friends to this day. Great vibe. You know, it was work, but it was kind of whatever type shit, whatever. At the time, I didn't really have the viewpoint of making more money or how to, so it was bullshit pay, but it's good enough, whatever. I ain't fucking homeless type shit.
Right.
And then I realized that the job started changing. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that the job changed. Yeah. Like everybody left and management changed, and all of a sudden I started hating the job. Yeah. And I was been the type of person where I'm not about to invest that much into a job. I ain't about to leave here, be stressed out, all this. But I realized I started being had pent up like resentment and frustration. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I started realizing because the job left me before I left the job. Yeah. And I told myself from now on
into a woman. I was mentally going before I physically left. My mind was going. I was already on my next.
But yeah, so I always tell myself, no matter how good or great a job is, that shit probably not the lifelong goal, whatever, because something's going to happen where it ain't going to be
the other shoe going to drop.
Yeah, the other shoe going to drop. Unless that's your shit, your company, your people, whatever, whatever it is, something's going to be out of your control. They're going to be like, no, that shoe don't really fit that good anymore, type shit. And then you need to have the flexibility and awareness, like, you know what? My time here is done. And that's okay. Yeah. And I had to grow out of it where I was like, no, I'm comfortable here. And
can't stand 12th grade forever, Q. Yeah. Eventually you got to go to college. And I feel like even that running a company is the same, but in reverse. Like you get good talent on your team and then they pivot and go do some other shit. Right. And then you be looking like, damn, man, I just had you. So it's like, you're never supposed to really get comfortable. It go all the way back to when you get comfortable and shit start to settle, it's going to shake up. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the case may be, like being comfortable during your seasons of elevation, during your seasons of putting in the work, and you gotta accept that part. But just thinking that you're gonna find a comfort spot and just like, all right, I'm gonna just stay right here. It's just like, nah, because then when the box gets shook, now you're sitting there like, oh, what do I do? No, don't search for comfort, search for fulfillment.
What's the I'm gonna respond to that point, but what do you say is the distinction between like coasting and comfort?
I think coasting is you are still going towards a higher level. Like, whereas though, even if like you're going in a direction where though comfort is like more, to me, it's more of a stagnant feeling. It's like, all right, cool. Cause like I said, there's a difference between being comfortable and content. Content means I'm happy with what I have, but that don't mean I don't want more. Comfortable means like, I'm literally just here. It's like, this is comfortable. I don't want to do anything. Comfortable don't want challenges. Coasting still has turbulence. You're still going to experience turbulence, and while you're coasting, you just found a speed that works for you.
And you can get out of the cruise control if need be. Like,
you just found a speed that works for you. Comfort don't even want the challenge. Comfort, like, you know what, we just gonna live. This is comfortable. There's no wind, there's no rain, there's no nothing, no unforeseeable, unpredicted circumstances. We just right here on this motherfucking runway, and we gonna just keep it here. That's somebody that's comfortable. You know what? We good. But coasting is like, nah, like we head in a direction, we prepare for whatever come with it, and we at a speed that we can sustain. I'm at a pace that I can sustain. I'm coasting.
Even if it's temporary.
Even if it's, because that's what coasting is. Coasting, you can't be up in the sky flying forever. Eventually, you're going to have to find a good place to land. So coasting is just being comfortable throughout that process. Whereas though comfortable probably never got going.
Right. Yeah. So the latest book I'm going through is called Outliers. And they spoke about that.
I love this book. This is 5th time mentioning it.
Not here.
I felt like you mentioned it. No, maybe just in our 5 conversations.
But they mentioned what is fulfilling work, and it talks about, it was a few elements I remember exactly, but I remember part of it was like the idea of like risk to reward. I'm not risk to reward, work to reward. Like what I'm doing is leading to this. They mentioned it have to be challenging and something else, but it made me think about, like, because I feel like when people talk about what is fulfillment, it seems like always sometimes tends to be like vague, or I have to stumble upon, this is fulfilling. But no, you can actually find work in an intentional way. And no, this is fulfilling,
100%.
And I can stay on this course and maybe find more that I don't know that's along this path, whatever. But it's certain things in life or that you've been through. No, that was fulfilling. I need to do more of that. To your point about the relationship, where it's like, no, I see this works, this doesn't work. Yeah. Do more of this shit, and more of this can lead to shit you don't know about.
Because it's like you ain't never going, like, fulfillment is temporary. It's satisfying. Like, it's not, fulfillment don't mean you're full and filled. It just means that in this moment, I'm satisfied. You go get you some food, it's satisfying. 3 hours later, you're going to be hungry again. And people confuse that. You don't eat one time and you just not hungry ever again. Like, I don't know no species that's able to do that, right? Unless you got the stomach the size of an ant. And even they be scrambling and scrambling. So I don't even think that applies. The fact of the matter is, so being fulfilled is constantly staying in alignment and finding things that satisfy your appetite. What tends to happen is people prefer to have the candy over the apples, even though that the apples is better for you. And that's why they go for the instant gratification fulfillments, the things, the vices, the drinking, the smoking, the fucking, the clubbing, all of the things that make you feel fulfilled temporarily versus doing the things that might take a little bit more longer, but it'll last way longer. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the different degrees to being fulfilled. But the fact of the matter is, fulfillment is a temporary feeling. It's just about finding ways to create that daily. Like, how can I wake up today and feel fulfilled? And then tomorrow and feel fulfilled. But you're not just gonna wake up on Monday and still feel the same excitement, the same pleasure, the same joy from sun. It's gonna be joy, it's gonna be excitement, it's gonna be pleasure, but it ain't a long standing 168 hours. It's just like from Monday to Sunday, this is exactly how I felt.
Or maybe it is, but it's okay if it doesn't.
Yeah,
because let's say it's a project or whatever it is. I'm asking, it can be a long last, or it don't have to be as temporary as maybe a day. But I think maybe to add to that, if or when it does end, it's okay.
I think it's like going to the gym.
Okay.
You gotta exercise, even though your muscles feel good. You get that little. The next day you gotta do it again, and next day you gotta do it again. So ultimately, when you look at your week and you zoom out, the week was fulfilling, but it was each individual day of putting in the work that made it fulfilling. I don't think Monday's gym session lasts till Sunday.
How about Thursday?
I don't think it lasts till Thursday.
Okay.
I think that you could take a day off, relax your muscles, and maybe you can have that high, that adrenaline, that carry over. But by the day after that, you're coming back down, and you're going to need to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair. So that's about right. Yeah. So I guess that's it's funny because you said something about challenging for men, and that sparked the thought that we're going to carry into the next episode.
So you got it?
100%.
All right.
I actually wrote it down to that. You know, I mean, it was something that I kind of probably Ben was going to harp on, but we just probably didn't get to it there. So by you saying that, it kind of let me know, like, oh, when we can actually talk about that specifically. It ain't exactly attached to that, but it's close enough. It was one of them things that sparked it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But you already know, man. Good episode, good conversation. And for the people that's out there, if you're a part of the 1%ers, man, big shout out to you.
1%ers.
You know what I mean? We've been trying to grow our community. Not even trying. We have been growing our community. We have to be more intentional about putting content in the community. But as we grow in the community, we also growing within the development of running and managing the community. So with that being said, man, as always, we encourage y'all to get 1% better every single day in every single way. You already know we're going to say, man, make sure y'all share this out, because the more y'all let people know, the more we grow. And we don't want y'all to gatekeep these conversations. We also want y'all to interact, man. If it's something that y'all feel like y'all want us to delve deeper into, if y'all got perspective that y'all want to add and y'all want us to present it, let us know. Why? Because we want to help as many people as possible get 1% better every single day in every single way. And with that being said, man, again, share this out. Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube, on the Wolf Network, the Wolf Has Spoken Podcast. Take me wide real quick. The Wolf Has Spoken Podcast. Make sure y'all get us on all audio platforms, the Wolf Has Spoken Podcast. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, the Wolf Network, wolfnetwork.wsc. Follow me at wolfwsc. Follow Q.
Right on Q Live, as in the right side on QUE Live.
And then make sure y'all give my guy Ricky B. Philly. And as always, make sure y'all shop with our sponsors, Her Fantasy Box. Visit their website. Here's a host of their products. And then make sure y'all go grab my book,
Shout out to that.
Accountability and Cheating is Not Cheating. And we'll have to delve deep into these topics in my books at some point. But in the meantime, just go grab a copy. Make sure y'all stay tapped in as always, man. Until next time, the Wolf Has Spoken.
My book coming soon too.
I'm gonna pay for that.